Hallelujah. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus told his disciples this parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out at dawn to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with them for the usual daily wage, he sent them into his vineyard. Going out about 9 o'clock, the landowner saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and he said to them, "You too go into my vineyard, and I will give you what is just." So they went off. And he went out again around noon and around 3 o'clock and did likewise. Going out about 5 o'clock, the landowner found others standing around and said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" They answered, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You too go into my vineyard." When it was evening, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Summon the laborers and give them their pay, beginning with the last and ending with the first." When those who had started about 5 o'clock came, each received the usual daily wage. So when the first came, they thought they would receive more, but each of them also got the usual wage or salary. And on receiving it, they grumbled and complained against the landowner, saying, "These last ones work only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who bore the day's burden and the heat." He said to one of them in reply, "My friend, I am not cheating you. Did you not agree with me for the usual daily wage? Take what is yours and go. What if I wish to give this last one the same as you received? Or am I not free to do as I wish with my own money? Are you envious because I am generous? Thus the last will be first, and the first will be last." Sisters and brothers, the Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Lord Jesus Christ.
I focused my homily or my reflection this morning at 7 o'clock, celebrated Mass, in one particular question in line with what has happened in the Gospel narration today. And my topic was it fair on the part of the landowner of the vineyard to give the same usual wage or salary for the latecomers who only worked for 1 hour, as compared to the new first-comers who work for 8 hours of the day and still receive the same wage or salary as that received by the latecomers? My dear friends, I said this morning, to better understand and also to better appreciate the story of Jesus in Matthew 20, verses 1 to 16, we need to know what is going on in this story as describe what has had happened during the time of Jesus when these workers were very, very honestly looking for the opportunity not only to feed themselves, but their own families as well. As I said this morning, in the time of Jesus, if a man did not find work today, then his family often did not have something to eat tomorrow. A man who has found work early in the morning rejoiced the whole day, just as all the members of his family do rejoice with him, having found a work. So what is then that Jesus is like or is telling us to look at today? And to the answer whether it's fair or not, the key to understanding the story of Jesus today is what is contained in the gospel today, particularly verse 15, Matthew chapter 20, which goes, "Are you envious because I am generous?" Matthew chapter 20, verse 15. In other words, my dear friends, the story of the parable is not and never about justice. It's about generosity. And not just ordinary generosity. It's about a generosity which we believe something unlikely known to us, and that is the generosity of God. And let me particularize my point today in our day-to-day situations in life, talking about generosity and side by side what we call service that we render to one another. Service, for example, in terms of our two beloved barangay captains, lay ministers, Brad Victor Oberes, barangay captain of Cansohong, and Brad Edward S. Alesna, barangay captain of Poblacion Talisay, Cebu. Yes, what and how do they look of their service to the people or constituents they are serving? And how do we appreciate, especially all of us church volunteers, members in this or that organization in our church? How do we look at the service that we are rendering not only to God, but to people, and particularly to our very own church members in the shrine of Santa Teresa de Avila? Be you a lay minister, a gift bearer or collectora, be you a member of the choir, be you a reader, a cantor, an acolyte, a sacristan, a ministry volunteer in the operation of our online mass. This is a point of reflection that we should look at. And allow me again to share what I said yesterday in my anticipated mass reflection. We should always remember and bear in mind that what is essential and paramount is not the amount of service, but the love in which that service is carried out. Be in public office or in the government, be in the church or elsewhere. That is what is paramount and substantial. It's not the amount of service, but rather the love in which that service is carried out. I also said yesterday, the bottom line is not the spectacle of service, not even the amount of faith, but the bottom line of the spectacle in line with service is the love we put into it. And allow me again to quote the very beautiful words of the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 13, verses 1 to 8, which goes, "If I have all the eloquence of men and of angels, but speak without love, I am simply a gong booming or a cymbal clashing. If I have the gift of prophecy, understanding all the mysteries there are, and knowing everything, if I have faith in its fullness to move mountains, but am without love, I am nothing at all. If I give away piece by piece all that I possess, and if I even let them take my body to burn it, but if I am without love, it will do me no good whatever. Again, my dear friends, our beloved barangay captains and public servants, and you church volunteers in our church today, consider this. It's not the amount of service, but the love in which this or that service is carried out. It is not the bottom line of the spectacle of service, not even the amount of faith, but the love which goes with it. And finally, we come to these conclusions. We do not serve, be it in the church or in the barangay or in the government. We do not serve for grandeur nor for reward, but we serve for the love of God. Yes, the first laborers who came to work in the vineyard of the owner, they had a contract with the owner of the vineyard. That is, we work if you pay us. In other words, they were much concerned about what they get out of the work they render. But there was no what we call word of contract with the latecomers. All they had was the contentment and the satisfaction to have the opportunity to work, and in our case, to serve. My dear friends, a Christian, and all of us are, my dear friends, should not be asking from God, what can I get in return for serving you? That should not be the question that we have to ask. Lord, what can I get in return for serving you in your church? And remember, there is much joy and happiness, my dear friends, if we come to church on Sunday with the motive for the love of God and not a sense of obligation and expectation of a reward. Another point for us serving in the church or in the government, there will be less quarrels in a family or in church organizations or government organizations. There will be less quarrels in a family or in the church or church organizations, my dear friends, if we, the members, take our service as a chance to show our love for one another. My dear friends, it's not how long, it's not how good, how great that matter most. What matter most, my dear friends, is how we love for one another. That's what matter most. It's not how long, how good, how great, how long, and whatever, which matter most. What matter most is how we love and tender our love for one another. Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta once said, I am not sure what heaven looks like, but I certainly do know, Mother Teresa said, I certainly do know that when we die and when we come face to God and comes the time for God to judge us, He will not be asking us how many things have been done in this earthly and worldly life. But God the judge will be asking us how much love we have put into what we did here on earth. Please stand.